Big shout out to Thomas Gunnerman Matisse, the champ, man. You know, yeah, he moved up in weight class to 140. We wish him good luck on his fight tomorrow. You know, because he got some guys in that weight class and up. But he said he going back down after the fight.
140, no, that 140 low key wide open right now.
Yeah, it's wide open. You know, because a couple of them guys went up to 147. So you know, it's wide open. I'm in the 140, 147, 154. Yeah.
Yeah, you were Floyd.
Yeah, I'm in Floyd, Bud Crawford, Thomas Gunnerman Matisse, all 8 weight classes.
Yeah, Floyd came out of retirement for you.
Nah, he ain't come out of retirement for me. Nah, baby. We can go on Netflix, Floyd. Holla at me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can market that.
As long as I can bring my golf club, because when it get funky, and you start to, you know, that professionalism start to take over them later rounds on me, I might have to have my golf club.
Man, we gonna make that pay-per-view bag and we gonna be cool.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got my tag team with me. I got DJ and Miles. They gonna have to I'm gonna have to tag them in. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna lie, I was out there on the court hooping and I had to get that second win, baby. I'm like, wait a minute.
You probably had to get a third win.
Too many blunts or something. I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know what's going on. But we got a great show tonight. You know, if you ain't been paying attention, I don't know, you've been asleep somewhere under a rock. We got somebody that's near and dear to the community. He probably helped you out in a major way, and you probably didn't thank him. You know, the sort of things he's into, that's a selfless person, and that's a thankless job. You know, to be in holistic health and wellness, education. Those are things where you care about people. You care about your surroundings. You care about your future. You care about your country. You care about what's going on in the world. You know, when you're dealing in those realms right there. And tonight, we got former Maple Heights City Councilman doing his thing right now. Richard Trojanski in the house. Yeah, what's up, Rich?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man, for coming aboard, man.
Thank you.
Now, you can tell right off the back, Rich look trim and fit. Trim and fit. And you're a young man. You don't mind me
How old do
bringing
you
that
think
up?
I am?
Well, I know what you told me, but you want me to tell you what I thought?
Yes.
Looking at you? 20? That's a little, that's
I
a
love
little
you.
challenging.
I love you.
I will say 29. Anywhere from 29 to, I'ma say 37. You know, but he's older than that. Or should I say maturer than that?
Yes. Wiser.
Wiser. You like those words?
Yes.
Wiser. Yeah, so I ain't got to reveal the age. Just know that I thought he was anywhere between 29 and 39, but he's more mature and wiser than that. You know, and he's in great shape. What do you attribute that to, Richard?
Ooh, I'm an active person. Like
You're an active person.
I've been a busybody. Like when I was in school, I don't know how to drive. So I ride share, I walk, I jog. I mean, I'm a pretty active person. You know, I'm currently an educator. So I'm a high school vice principal in Maple Heights at Castle High School, which is a public charter school. And I live in Maple Heights. After I left office, I am vested. This is my hometown. I care about my community. I'm vested in the community. I work in the community. So I literally am a 8-minute walk from my school. So I walk to school. My kids, my family see me in the community. I'm not someone who goes off to another community and drives in and then I drive out. It's just not a job. I'm truly invested in my community and my people.
Yeah.
Yes. And you see me visible.
He doesn't drive. That means he commutes around. He commutes around his ward on foot.
Yes.
We got a guy that do that around here
Yes.
too. You know, we got a guy.
Hey, he was outside. He like, man, I'm just somebody from Bone Thugs and Heart.
Probably Stu D's.
Yes.
Who was it though? Who you think it was though? Who the only person that's coming out here? Don't say Bone Thugs Harmony though.
Oh, you talking about
Yes, he told me who.
you talking about Pucto?
Yes.
The real Pucto?
He came to visit me like 3 times, but
He
yes.
did?
Yes.
Hey, bless his heart, man. He's like a Bone Thugs affiliate. You know, they cut, they show him love when they come to town, you know, straight up. We kind of thought he was pulling our chain, but after a while, it was real. You ran into him, Rich?
I did. He's like, hey, how are you? I mean, he introduced who he was. I'm like,
Yeah.
hi, I'm Richard. And then he went away, and then he came back and talked to me a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, if you picked up on it, Richard is a product of Maple Heights.
Yes.
He was raised there and stayed in that community to where he's an authoritative figure in the community. You know, how real is that? Hold on, though, Richard. Take me back a little bit, man. You know, how was it for you coming up in Maple Heights? Because they consider Maple Heights a suburb, but nowadays they saying it's a little challenge and it's like it's full of Section 8. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I grew up in Maple. It's my hometown. I've seen it from when I was a little kid, when it was a very pristine suburb, but it's always been a working class community. I mean, it wasn't a Westlake or a Shaker or a Gatesmill. It was a working class community. You had people who worked in auto industry, construction trades, paraprofessionals, police, fire, good working jobs that people could buy a home and live the American dream. And so, you know, things change. Change is constant.
Yeah.
And just like any Rust Belt city, you see in Cleveland where people originally had good paying jobs, employers left the community, and they went out into the suburbs. There's redlining, all these things. These things happen in the suburbs. I mean, Maple had redlining as well. And so you had a time in say the 80s, 90s, because I graduated from Maple in 98, so you had white flight going on in Maple, and so you had the white people who were, let's be very real, were scared of black people and were prejudiced or whatever. They moved further south. They moved to the Macedonia, the Twinsburg, the Streetsboro, and so on and so forth. And so things changed, and Maple at the time had some really big employers. There was Lucas Aerospace, which was an aerospace company at the time. It was the largest employer, and it was housed in a building that was built in the 1920s, and they wanted a more modern facility, and so the building had been used and abused, and so they fled to Aurora and had a state-of-the-art facility, so those tax dollars left the community, and so you had the shrinking of income in the city, so you had all these dynamics changing. And then, you know, in the early 2000s, Maple, Garfield, Warrensville, they have good housing stock, but you have affordable housing, so you had young people that were coming into the community, and then like the mid 2000s, you had the housing market fell, and you had all these young families who fell to predatory lending, or because of the Great Recession, they lost their job, and at the time, banks were not willing to come to the table and work out how to refinance your mortgage. And so you had thousands of people who were displaced. And so you had those families that left the community. You had those homes that were vacant. And now you had a community, like government is not in the housing industry of taking care of mowing the lawn and making sure that no one is breaking into the home. And so you have all of these different things. And so you had homes that were put into disrepair. You had a city that was already financially stressed. And so you had a lot of these things that just happened all at once. So, but what I will say is that since then, the city is going on a forward trajectory. There is new businesses that have come into the community. There's new homes that have come into the community. The property has appreciated, and since the last appraisal, the property value has gone up 34%. You have people who are moving in from Akron, further east of Painesville, other areas, and they're moving closer to Cleveland because they want to be closer to the job, or they just want to be closer to Cleveland, and so they're moving into Maple Heights because while we're a community of 25,000 people, we have close access to all the freeways. You can get to the airport easily, to downtown, to all of the shopping centers, and it's affordable communities. And it's a small community, so it has that small town feel. So there's that synergy that the community is rebuilding itself.
Okay. Now, you said coming up, you saying it had a lot of pride. Well, you didn't say that, but I depict from what you're saying that it was a thriving community, a working class community. It wasn't quite like certain other communities,
yes,
but they were handling theirs.
Yes.
So was your own household that you were coming up under, was it the two-family household, two-parent household?
Yes, so I have two families. So from birth to about 12, I had my biological family. So my dad was a machinist. He worked for this SP manufacturing company in Sterling, Ohio. And then mom was a stay-at-home mom. Before she had my brother and I, she was administrative clerk for the CEO for a May company.
But when she got with your dad, he retired her.
So then, but then I had a troubled childhood. So I had a father who was very abusive and so forth. So I had a lot of things that happened. So right around the time I was in 6th grade, I had a family that moved into my neighborhood that was Jamaican. And so my safe haven when I was a kid was the library. I would go, because we didn't have a community center. So like I would go to the library and there was different activities and so forth. So I would go every day, get a book. I would just get away from the house. And so this family had moved into my street. And so I'm an extroverted person. So I would go up and say, hey, I'm Richard. How are you? Welcome to the neighborhood. And so they had like 3 daughters. And so I started hanging out and so forth. And I had a lot of things that were going on at home. And so gradually they kind of just took me in. And so then they raised me from like 12 into adulthood.
The Jamaican family did?
Yes. So I have this...
From 12 to adulthood?
Yes. So I have this bicultural experience.
Ah! Yeah! Hold on. Do you appreciate that, Richard?
Absolutely. I mean, it has given me a competitive advantage in life, having an appreciation for different people, their stories, their culture, and then I've always... Every place that I've worked, every place I've lived, because I've also lived in St. Louis, I've always lived in the black community.
Hold on, I gotta stop because hold on. Now, Richard, hold on. When the Jamaicans came here, if you was down with them, it's because you was a runner. They put it in they told you to watch out for the popo or whoever, and then they straighten you out at the end of the day. They might have gave you a walkie-talkie, they might have gave you a whistle, you know, or gave you a certain call when you see them boys coming through. Like you said, you moved with the Jamaicans. I'm from it. I'm just telling you what happened. You don't gotta like my message, man. You don't gotta like it. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you. Y'all heard of LAJ?
Too much TV though.
No, it ain't no TV. It's all real. When I say this stuff, it sound like TV, baby. It sound like TV, but I promise you, it's not TV. You know, I promise you. You know, hold on, Richard, because you said you had a little indiscretion. Were you rebelling because of what you were going through with your dad?
Yes.
And your mom really couldn't control that?
Yeah.
Were you out in the street doing things you're not too proud of?
No, I mean, I just had my father was really abusive and so forth. And so...
You didn't want to be bothered. You didn't want to be home.
Yeah, and so I would run away and so forth. And then it just got to a point, like, my adoptive family understood the circumstances were going, and they just took me in.
Yeah.
And so they raised me from like 12 to...
Did they have their own children?
They have 3 sisters.
You said that. And y'all became like a family then with the 3 sisters. Okay, because I thought it was going to go another direction. I started dating one of them. You know, no, they ain't like my sisters.
That changed the trajectory of my life because I had... my parents, they came to the United States for opportunity and so forth, and so they had really, really high expectations. Like you were going to school, whatever you did, you were going to be the best. My Jamaican parents, so they had very high expectations. Like you were going to make something.
So
of
they
yourself.
put you in some structure. They didn't just say come in and get a plate and kick your feet up and disrespect me and my household and all that.
So like I was used to going to church, strict discipline. Like you were going to clean the house. I learned like a lot. Like.
You told me you ran track in school.
Yes, and cross country.
You were a long distance runner.
I was a distance runner.
So was this the time when you were around your adoptive family?
Yes, because prior to that, in middle school, coaches identified I was a really good runner, but my biological father wouldn't let me do any extracurriculars, do sports or anything, so it wasn't until I got into high school and then like the coaches would reach out to my parents and then that was facilitated, so I was able to participate in sports.
So to me, was it like a new lease on life with
yes,
with
I mean,
people?
because I had a structure and a foundation where I had people that loved me and were able to coach me and push me and open new doors for me because, you know, they had an expectation that everyone would go to college. And so had I never been with that family, I would have never developed the work ethic, cultural competency. Like, for example, so my dad is dark-skinned, My mom is caramel skin, and each one of my sisters was a different skin color: light skin, brown skin, dark skin, and then
So
the hair
you heard
texture.
it all.
So
You
there's a
heard it
lot
all.
of conversations,
Yeah.
a lot of education
Yeah.
that I received
Yeah.
being in this environment.
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
took that out into the world and being empathetic and being an ally in my community.
Early on, was that kind of tough for you to try to fathom all of that? Like,
I think later in life, because I think when you're a kid, you don't really think about all of these things until later on. You go into later on in life. Like, for example, I'm a first gen, so I went off to college. I went to a majority white school. I'm from Maple. I mean, coming from a working class community and so forth. I went to a very affluent university. And so some of the conversations and things I would hear from some of my peers were like, wow, I'm like, because they're living in white privilege.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I understand I'm a white male, so I understand where I am in American society, where I am in the pyramid.
Yeah.
And being raised in this community, in a very diverse community with a black family, it's given me a three-dimensional perspective on
Sure,
culture and privilege
sure.
and people's stories, and how, depending on who you are, how you are treated, or how the institution and the laws affect you, and so
Sure.
forth. And then being placed in the ivory tower with people who live in essentially a gated community, have never been exposed in the things they say, and having to reflect and internalize and challenge things. Because in college, that was another opportunity where I became really involved in student organizations and the diversity and holding people accountable and holding institutions accountable.
Why so? Why did you?
I guess because I'm from Maple, and you know, even when I was in high school, my school was predominantly African American. So the things that affect my peers and my family are personal because I'm from that community. That's my family. So I've always been a person where I believe that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And so I've always used.
If you're not at the table, you on the menu.
You not at the
I gotta use that, Richard. Yeah.
No, did you say you not on the table?
If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
On the menu?
You on the
If
menu.
you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
You're entree.
Yeah.
You food.
Oh, okay, I get you.
If you're not ordering food, you food.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I get you.
for real.
Okay.
You know. If you're not out here eating, you will be eating. You know. In other words, I ain't mean to interrupt you, Richard.
I mean, so I always ask myself, I think that regardless of who you are, who your story is, you have a contribution to add to society, no matter how large or small. And so every situation I've always been placed in, I'm like, how am I going to add value?
Right.
And so it is about speaking up and showing up.
Richard, that family that took you in and showed you this love, was there a man in that family?
Mm-hmm. My dad.
Your dad. And obviously he was a total opposite of your biological dad. How quickly did you take to him
My dad and I are,
and believe that it was genuine love?
I think I'm closer to my dad. Like I love both my parents, but my dad and I have a very close relationship. So my dad is a very like unconditionally loving person. My mom is like the tough love, like she's the fierce matriarch in the family. So she has an opinion on everything and so forth. She's like the fighter. She's gonna like tell you how she feels, point blank, period. Whereas my dad's like, he loves you whoever you are. So my dad and I have a very strong relationship.
Okay, yeah. Hold on, that good cooking, that good Jamaican food.
Yes.
Oxtails,
All that.
Jerk.
callaloo,
Yes.
I want that
jerk chicken.
Curry chicken.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Rice and peas.
That Ital stew. You know. Yeah. So
Goats.
you came up with all that.
Yes,
how, Richard?
every day. My mom cooked like last summer. My parents now live in South Carolina, and so I went to go visit them.
Yeah.
And so my mom cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So my dad was very happy because my
So
dad.
that's where you grew up at with your
When they
adopted
in Maple
parents?
Heights. They live in Maple Heights, but they're the retirees now, so they moved to South Carolina like 2 years ago.
Oh, they moved to South Carolina.
Yeah. So I went to go
Yeah.
visit them for a week, and so I had like some good
Now-
cooking.
Now, Richard, you were going through those transgressions, but you were able to pull it together to where you were open to health and wellness. You were open to eventually becoming an educator. You made this complete turnaround. and you attribute that to your Jamaican family and what you went through with your biological family. Was it anything beside those families?
I mean, I guess starting in like my freshman year in high school, so I was always involved. I was fascinated by politics, and so I would watch like every 4 years. I would watch the presidential debates, and I would watch C-SPAN. And then my sophomore year, there was a gentleman, Mr. Colley. He ran for school board, so I helped on his campaign. I did his literature drops, and then I ran for student council in high school. So I was really engaged and involved in wanting to run for office and using that as a vehicle to change people's lives.
Was that because of your experience, this multi-dimensional, experience, how you came up with the different cultures?
Yes, because later on, like my senior year, I started getting involved with the youth chapter of the Cleveland NAACP. So that was another exposure where I got to meet people and stories and see things that they did, and I was like, wow, I like this. I want to be a part of something larger than myself, and I want to have impact and elevate people.
Sure. Be it that you are in this unique position and you got this culture that you were raised in, do you feel like people lean on that? Lean on your expertise, lean on who you as a person and everything? Do you think people lean on those things?
Yes, and so after having served in office over 14 years, I'm now
14 years.
I served 14 years on City Council in Maple Heights.
Ah! 14 years! Yeah, I wasn't fly by night. Hold on, Richard. You know them potholes in Maple Heights and them potholes. DJ, you ain't go over one of them potholes in Maple Heights? Do we gotta holler at Richard about that?
Don't come for me now.
Don't come.
I'm not for office now. Give me a break now.
Give a break. Yeah.
Because I would get those calls.
You'll get those calls. No. That's wonderful, man. So hold on. To make that transition, man. So what came first, the education or the health and wellness?
The education. And education is not simply textbooks or going to get a degree or certification. It is the lived experience, and it is the interactions with different types of people and learning through people's stories that sheds light on different barriers, what transcends race, creed, culture, faith, all those things. And I think that especially where we are today in the country, that we are so divided, people want to put people into categories rather than just having a conversation and learning each other's story, and instead of being so hateful or cruel to one another. I think that we start listening to each other's stories, we can learn more about each other and about our humanity and about things that are larger than ourselves, and being a better people and a stronger country.
Was this your train of thought when you were approaching schools and different places to hold events and workshops and different things of that nature?
So I take it on the persona. It takes a village, just like it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to move a people and a community forward. So when I took office, I would collaborate and partner, because government has limited resources. We don't have all of the financial resources, and especially in where we are today, governments are looking for ways to shed costs, and so one of those things is through partnerships. So I would partnership, like for example, I would partnership with the Cleveland Clinic and have a health and wellness tour, because I understand there are health disparities in my community, and so why not bring a healthcare system into the community so they get healthcare screenings, they get to talk with a nurse, they get to talk with a doctor, and they get that education, those resources, so that we can build people up to live their healthiest lifestyles. It's better for the people, and it's better for the community. Just like I would partner with organizations and have financial literacy workshops or coat giveaways, or with the food bank when we're dealing with food insecurity. It's a real issue. Making sure that people are fed. Or when I first took office, it was still a time when banks were not coming to talk with families and say, we're not going to help you finance your loan. So I had partnered with the county bank and a few banks.
The land bank?
It was the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. It was a Republican judge I had partnered with, and a few attorneys. There was a couple nonprofits, and we brought resources into the community so that people who were facing foreclosure, that were losing their homes, they could negotiate and talk with the bank rather than lose their home. We need to save homes because it's a vicious systematic cycle. The family is displaced, so now we have a homeless family. The home is going to be vacant. That's in disrepair. So it affects the community negatively. So why not keep people in their homes? So let's work together and have partnerships to move the community forward, to help people.
Amen. Now, hold on. As qualified as you are and the temperament you have, you can do anything in government at any level, and you can go anywhere. But we stayed in Maple Heights.
Absolutely.
Why?
It's my hometown. This is why I'm Maple proud, Maple strong, and I'm not going to just flee out of my community. I have a home in this community. I invested. I don't care who lives in the community. Things change, constant change, but I'm a person who is wholehearted, committed to my people and to my community. And so an opportunity opened where I got to be a teacher at a charter school in Maple Heights with young people. And why not invest in our future leaders? And so, oftentimes people would say, do I want to go through that door, or do I let fear take over and just stay in my comfort zone? I went through that door. And so I've been in education for 4 years. The first year I was a credit recovery teacher, and then I got tapped to be the dean, which is the assistant principal
This was
position.
after your 14 years in office?
I was still in office for my last 2 years. The first year I was in the credit recovery teacher, I was still in office. So my 2 years I was in office, and I was still a councilman, but I was in education too. Because in suburban government, only the mayor is a full-time position, but council is a part-time position. So we all have like full-time jobs.
Wow, didn't know that. What was the platform you ran on and got elected to become Maple Heights City Councilman?
So because I had served multiple terms, I first ran for office in 2009, and then at the time the terms were 2 years.
What did you run on? What was your platform in 2009 that you ran on, you stood on business and got elected?
I ran on accessibility because I think that at the
accessibility to government?
I wanted accessibility. I think that at the local level, people should be able to see their elected official. You want to be accessible. This is like, in Maple Heights, we're a city of 25,000 people. Each ward is about 3,300 people, depending on the size. And so you want to be accessible. There should be no reason why people don't see you. It's just not every 2 years that they see you around election time. I want to be accessible because, as a legislator, you are the representative voice of the people.
That's what you were telling the voters.
Yes.
You elect me, I'm going to give you access to the office.
Communication, accessibility.
Yeah.
And partnering with people. Because I wanted, at the time, there was no social media presence. There was like no newsletter or anything. So I started a newsletter. It's called Harambe. So Swahili for community, building a sense of community. So I'd actually go out.
That's that gorilla. Harambe. Yeah.
So I had this newsletter. So I'd actually go out and deliver the newsletter door to door myself. And it gave me the opportunity to, one, be accessible.
Is Maple Heights.
Check on people. How are things on your street? What could be better? Yeah. Is there something I need to know? Is there something happening on your street? If they needed to contact me, here's my email, here's my phone number. So it's a reciprocal exchange. That's the type of representation we want. We want people who are good. We want people who are accessible and competent and have integrity.
Let me ask you a real question, Richard. With your cultural background, with who you are and how you represent yourself, did that make it easier or hard to bring in business to your ward from outside of your ward?
So for the wards I represent is District 6. So the major streets are Northfield and Warrensville. Warrensville is the busiest street in Maple Heights. About 40,000 motor vehicles traverse each day.
Yeah, and y'all always got somebody pulled over too.
So
too much pulling over. And there's too many potholes. I don't know what y'all doing with the money, man.
The street has been resurfaced, so it's now smooth. It's been resurfaced.
Rich, I ain't throwing you under the bus or any of your compadres. This me speaking from my heart. If y'all like what I'm saying, come holler at me about it. But yeah, okay.
So there's about 50, because that corridor is all retail. You go in Northfield, Warrensville, that's all retail. Yeah. So I would represent about 50 small businesses. So I would work with the city's economic development director to promote businesses and so forth, but then I would host events. So like the one time I had an event, because there's the Shekinah Wellness Center, which is They do yoga.
Yeah, we had Sasheen.
Yes, Ms. Johnson.
Yeah.
So I rented
We
out.
had her on Sasheen. Yeah.
I rented out the space, and so I would have events for small businesses. So I would bring Dollar Bank. I would bring in the Urban League because they have the small minority-owned business incubator. I would bring out someone who knows about businesses in terms of taxes and so forth, because a lot of times, small businesses will open up and they don't know what they don't know. And so some of them are successful, but a lot of them are unsuccessful. So let's make sure that the small businesses have the tools and the resources to be successful and to also expand, because if they grow, hire more people, that's more tax revenue for the city, and that's more for services.
So that was
and
your
so forth.
focus in the office.
Yes, so infrastructure as well, because Maple Heights is like 100 years old. So replacing sewers, resurfacing streets, seeing new homes built. So there was the last term, there was 2 new homes that went up and so forth. So
Let me ask you, Richard, in those first 4 years, right, because the term is 4 years.
at the start, the terms are 2 years, and then I think it was like 2016. There's every 5 years we have a charter review. So the charter is like the Constitution. Every 5 years we have a charter review where each member of council, the council president, and the mayor will appoint citizens, and they will convene and talk amongst themselves about maybe changes or revisions that could be done to the charter. And then, so there was a revision from lengthening the terms, having the term from 2 years to 4 years. So in 2019, that's when I served my first 4-year term.
Well, the councilman in this ward, Kevin Conwell,
Yes.
you may know Kevin. He's a friend of mine. He gets a lot of flack for the things he do and don't do, the things he say and don't say in the ward. And by you had been in office for 14 years and the first 2 years went by, what were you proud of the most in those first 2 years?
I mean, so when I took office December 3rd, 2009. So that was, the housing foreclosure, that was still going on.
We did
the
a
Great
piece on
Recession,
that. We did a
and
piece
so
on
forth.
that.
So there was a lot happening. So working in helping people save their homes instead of being displaced, giving people a sense of hope, because that was when Maple was at its lowest. So people thought that we were going to be the next East Cleveland. So
They thought Maple Heights. Yeah, y'all was thinking that.
But
Because some of y'all was Section 8, y'all like, I don't want to move out there because, that's the hood too. That's what y'all started saying a couple years ago.
The new East Cleveland, though, that was like a stretch.
Yeah, that's a stretch,
That's
though.
what people were saying.
I'm not willing to go there with it. Maple Heights is not East Cleveland. Nowhere near it. Long way to go. Long ways to go. First, it ain't that many strawberries working the streets out there. That's number one. You from Chicago, you already know what strawberries are, you know what I'm saying? Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on though, Rich. So now the first 2 years then rolled by and we still got the gump, we still got the desire. We got a little more mature, a little more wiser at it, and we read up and ran for election again, for re-election.
yes.
This time, what did we stand on? The first time was accessibility and accountability.
If I recall, because you have me going back like several. That's like
I'm gonna bring it forward. I'm gonna bring it forward.
2011. I want to say at that time, I've always been focused on people.
You always been focused.
I believe
on
that
people.
if you invest in people, you can move a people and the community forward.
But you didn't catch all this flack like other councilmen, and it didn't deter you to.
Oh no! At the time, So at the time, we had a Republican mayor, and he really, really, really did not like me.
Why is that?
Well, so at the time,
I mean, you're
so
a
I was
people's
30.
person.
So at the time, I was 30. So I was the youngest person on the council. Everyone on council had been there. There was like it was kind of a club, and people had been there for a while, and they were substantially older than me. So you had the generational gap, and then my youthfulness. I mean, I see things in a different light, and I question things in a different way, and so forth, and I do things a different way, and so forth. Even like the newsletter was kind of controversial, like Harambe, and so forth. Some people were like, "Well, I'm not black, so I don't." And like they'd say weird things, And so
That didn't deter you.
No, I mean, there's conversations that were had, and there's some education that had to be had. But I keep it moving. My loyalty is to the people that I serve, period. I operate through the charter, and I'm here to represent my people. That is why I'm here.
Yeah, I come from a different dynamic.
So
you ain't no cookie cutting me. You know, I've been around different cultures. You're not just gonna pull the wool over my eyes. You're not gonna piss on me and tell me it's raining outside.
Really?
You know, that's Big Buzz saying that. You know, let Big Buzz say that. You know, okay. So now you to this point where in education you were this credit restoration type of educational person to where they start instilling confidence in you to where you became an assistant principal.
yes. So the first year I was a credit recovery teacher. Credit recovery is a program whereby, say if a student is a sophomore, he or she, they come in from the previous school, maybe they failed a class or they're missing a class. We'll put them in their sophomore classes and we'll give them the biology or the algebra and credit recovery so that they're still on track to graduate in time rather than hold them back so that they can graduate in time. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you had to go through that and recover some credits?
Yes.
So what, you had to stay after school and...
No, you do it. This is so rather than have like study hall, you're going to have credit recovery. So you have your regular classes, and then rather than have a study hall, you go to credit recovery classroom, and then you're working on your credit recovery class.
Were you picked to do that, or you?
Yeah. So that year, I was asked to be the commencement speaker with the school because I had a pre-existing relationship with the school because when I was the council person, we don't have a rec center in Maple. So I used to use the library, but the library was outside of my ward, and I wanted a venue that was inside my ward so that people didn't have to leave, especially the elderly. I wanted them to be as close to home, but I wanted them to benefit from the programs and resources I would offer. So I used the school as a venue, so I had this partnership with the school, so we would do different things together. So then they asked me to be the commencement speaker, so then I did that. And then like 2 weeks later, the principal asked, do you want a job? He asked me if I wanted to be the enrollment coordinator, there was a history teacher, and then credit recovery. And I was on council at the time, and so I didn't want to take on the social studies role because you have to do lesson plans. Being an educator is a lot of work. Yeah. And so I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity because I wanted to work with young people in my community. Yeah. So I took credit recovery. So then I was in credit recovery. And then there was a shuffle among administrators. So the principal had left, and then the assistant principal became the principal. And so they needed to hire a new assistant principal. So they were getting ready for the following school year. So I was in my principal's office, and then she's like asked me, like, did you ever think about being interested in this position? I said yes. And based upon
you had aspiration, and you had a thought in the back of your mind.
But I never applied for anything. She asked me, and I said yes. And so people liked the work that I was doing in the school because I was creating partnerships, the resources, and so forth. Having served on council, I brought those resources into the school.
Huh? Yeah.
Because I want young people to benefit.
Yeah.
And so, and I had good relationships. I'm a relationship builder, and so I had good relationships with my kids because I meet my kids where they are. I'm not a person where this is my standard, you meet me here. I meet my child where they are, and we work each day, step by step. We're going to work together.
Was it the one mayor in office during your term, or were there different mayors?
There was two mayors. I had
two mayors.
Mayor Jeffrey Lansky, and then Mayor Annette Blackwell. When I ran for council president in 2015, she ran for mayor, so we were kind of like a team, and so she was the second mayor that I served with.
And you all was more like a team together. Mm-hmm. She appreciated and understood your direction and
so we both wanted the same thing. We wanted, because at that time in 2015 the city had gone into fiscal emergency, which local governments by law cannot operate in deficit. So if you run in deficit and there's a time frame, you go into fiscal emergency, and that's whereby the governor will have to create a commission, and they will appoint people, and then the city has to run through this commission. All the finances have to be approved by this commission.
Did East Cleveland go through that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
and
just went through
there's like a 5-year calendar of how you're going to get out of deficit and get out of fiscal emergency. So that all happened in 2015. So Mayor Blackwell, when she took office in 2016 as mayor, and me taking office as council president, that was the first and foremost priority, is getting the city's financial trajectory turned around.
So you were all able to, you and the mayor was able to come together, have sit downs, and I'm talking about one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the time I was council president, so I was the leader of council. So, council president is a very unique position, because while you're the leader of the legislative branch, you're really the middle manager, because you have to get the executive, the mayor, and the council, the legislative branch, to work together. And sometimes not everyone sees eye to eye, so I'm kind of like that middle manager. Yeah. So it was really tough, because there was a large turnover of council, and then you have a new mayor, and so not everyone saw eye to eye. And there was a lot of personalities on the council. Even there was the pre-existing council people and the new council people, and they didn't see, there was a lot of headbutting that had to navigate.
14 years in, did you leave anything on the field?
No, I mean, when I'm all in, I'm all in. It's 110%. Everything I do in life, I'm all in. I don't do things half.
Well, was it our time is up because we couldn't run no more? We got disinterested. Why did you lose in your mind?
So in 2023, I originally wasn't going to run for re-election, and because I think that in leadership, you're like the hamster on the wheel. You're just going. And I started very young, and there's other things I want to do. Like I had started college. I had to drop out of college because I couldn't afford school, so I wanted to go back to school, finish my degree. And then I was now here. I've reconnected with my biological family, and so I'm a caregiver and so forth in that sense. And there's other things I wanted to do.
A caregiver to your biological family?
Yes.
You hear the heart of a champion? Do you hear the heart of a champion? A big heart. I don't want to hear nothing, man. Ain't no excuse for y'all out there, man. I don't want to hear anything, man. Wow, Richard.
So I wasn't going to run for re-election, but at the time there's a lot happening with the city government in terms of the council. There's people who are there to show up and do the work, and there are people who they have their own agendas. So I ran because I believe that the people deserve the very best representation and leadership, and a government that responds to people's needs, and to run the government in a forward positive trajectory. And so I ran, but I didn't give it my all. And so the primary,
'cause you were a little distracted.
Yeah, and the primary, I blew out everybody, but then in the general election I didn't have any steam. And so
why is that? If you blew everybody out in the primary, you didn't get out on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't spend a lot of money. I spent literally $300.
Did you take it for granted because you had spent so much time in office?
I was
honestly thinking.
I think at the time I was burnt out.
You were burnt out, so you didn't really care. Yeah.
So I lost my 50 votes.
Did that hurt your pride?
No,
Didn't hurt your pride.
It's not the way how I wanted to go out, but we in life we go through seasons.
Yeah.
And this was I was entering a different season.
Okay.
Because holding elected office is like the highest honor you can have in a community from your citizens. Only 1% of the U.S. population will ever hold office. And so to have represented my hometown and to serve for 14 years, I did some great work, legislative accomplishments and so forth. I have a name. I'm a recognized brand. I am grateful and humble for the opportunity. But this is just a season. It's not the final destination. It's a new chapter is going to open. And so my focus pivoted from being elected to being an educator, because I live a life of purpose and impact. I'm a lifelong public servant. I've been a legislator, and now I'm an educator, so I'm in a different season.
That's a real impactful person. I ain't doing this to get paid. I mean, I get paid, but I do this for real. I do this for real. Wow, Richard, that's amazing. So when the 14 years were up and you lost the election, and now you're out of office and you've been out for a little while, did you see any impact that you made?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's so because I live in my community, so people see me at the grocery store, they see me go to the corner store, they see me going to and from work. People stop me all the time, and they're like, when are you going to run again? And it makes me feel really good that I'm appreciated and that I made a difference.
Sure.
So that makes me feel very loved.
Hold on, Rich. Can we go? Can we get a free cheesecake somewhere? You ain't got to name no names. Can we go in the spot and they say, "Don't worry about it, Mr. Trojanski. Don't worry about it." Are we good at any places like that?
A few places.
A few places.
A few places.
Yeah.
So you said you from Warrenville Center and Northfield, right? In between that, right?
My ward will go from Homewood all the way up to Northfield, and from Libby to the streets are juxtaposed against Interstate 40, so that's McCracken.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my side of town.
Wow.
Yes.
So did you hear about Richard and the job he was doing when he was in office? Yeah. So okay, Richard, that's dope. So you're proud of the work you did.
I am. You know, I'm a person where I believe that every experience in our life, regardless whether it's been positive or negative, it is here to teach us a lesson about life, or to prepare us for the next chapter. So like everything that happened to me in office, because the kids they'll say, you know, the kids, teenagers are teenagers, and they do silly stuff and crazy stuff, and so they ask me, Mr. T, do you think we're crazy, or do you think I'm a bad person? I'm like, I came from politics. I was prepared. This is nothing, and like everything that happened then prepared me for what's next.
Sure.
So,
are you optimistic about the future of Maple Heights?
absolutely. I mean, I think that
No, really, Richard. Are you optimistic?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, there's so many new homes have gone up in the community. There's new businesses always opening in the city. There's people moving. I mean, we talk about gentrification. I feel like Maple Heights is kind of like going through a gentrification. Like there's white people moving into the community, and it's really like there's a synergy about the city. It's the small steps that lead to the big accomplishments. It's not going to happen overnight. It took a long time for Maple to get here. It'll take a time for Maple to be that utopian suburban city. But it's not going to be something in the past. It's going to be a Maple Heights that's for the 21st century.
You like advanced, like.
It's going to look different. I mean, like, change is constant.
Yeah.
Even as a country, how America looked in 1900 versus America in 2026, the faces of this country look different. We have a different vision for the country and so forth. It's the same as for Maple.
Do you wish the same thing for the city of Cleveland that you do for Maple Heights?
Absolutely, because you know what affects one community affects all. I mean, we're all Cuyahoga County. We're all intertwined. So I would want a robust, thriving region. I want a place where families can raise their kids, have good public education, have a home, have safe communities, have good drinking water, have hospitals that that are accessible, have recreation, have good paying jobs. I would want that for the region because we're all going to benefit from that.
Rich, were you called names because of your background and how you grew up?
Absolutely.
That didn't deter you? It didn't destroy you? It didn't tear you down?
No, I mean,
how?
This is why I always say, and I tell my scholars, my kids all the time, the most important quality you can ever have is resiliency.
Huh?
Life is lifing. You have to get back up. Like the world is not a kind place, and so you have to have resiliency. You know, life is going to have setbacks. That's life, but you have to get back in the arena and keep going.
Yeah.
You have to create your happiness.
Well, you just gave some great words. I was going to ask you to do that, great words of encouragement. Anything you looking forward to doing coming up?
So I went back to college a few years ago. So this year, May 16th, I'm graduating from Xavier University in Cincinnati with my bachelor's.
Yeah.
I'm still involved and engaged in the community. So I sit on the Student Hall Democrats, which is the LGBTQ affinity group for the Democratic Party, and then I'm on the Maple Education Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Maple Heights that raises thousands of dollars for seniors graduating onto college. So we have scholarships. I'm involved with that, and I'm working on getting onto the Maple Heights Boys League, which is the baseball league. So I'm really kind of changing and focusing on young people. So I'm doing that.
Hold on, you just said something now. Y'all heard about what Trump did. He told the Scouts of America, you know, they changed their name. They're no longer the Boy Scouts of America. It's Scouting America now because, you know, they're targeting, you know, different kinds of communities nowadays, not just the same. And Trump has taking umbrage with that, and he's like denying funding to states that, you know, that's making the change. You know, how did that community feel about that? You being on the board.
I mean, so I was the first out gay elected official in Maple Heights.
Okay.
And so at the time, it was not like I had. Maple Heights is a strong Democratic voting bloc, but it's still religiously and socially conservative. And so there, at the time when I was first in office, there were still some Republicans. There was a Republican mayor and 2 Republicans on council. And then all of my electeds I served alongside were all older. They were like in their 50s, 60s, 70s. So they had a different worldview. And so I was not welcomed like with open arms. And so, but that's, you know, for any subgroup, any minority, I mean, that's unfortunately the reality.
Yeah.
And so I am a faith-based person, so I have strong ties to my faith, and I'm a very go-getter. I don't really take no. So
we ain't letting you. You can't tear me down with words.
So it's about, you have to show up every day and be consistent.
Yeah.
And so gradually you will change people's hearts and minds. And so, and it's about doing the work. So I was there to do the work. I was there to make sure that my people are represented. And so gradually my colleagues saw that this wasn't like, because I remember one of my colleagues thought that this was like a popularity contest or something. I was just doing this just to do it. And I was like, no, I take my work seriously. Like being a legislator, and because the legislative branch, you are the representative voice of the people, but you create the laws and the policies, and you also make the appropriations for the government to operate. So Maple's budget is about $46 million. So it's a really large business. So it's serious.
I bet when you lost the last election, after serving so many great years in office and doing so many great things, did they try to tear you up with that, with your beliefs and how you see things?
I know, you know,
accuse you of things and accuse people of things?
I mean, so, you know, whenever you're a public figure, whenever you're in the arena, and you make yourself vulnerable publicly, you're always going to have haters. That's just, whenever you're in leadership, you're always going to have haters. That's just the reality. And so, you know, when I was first in office, I used to like read all the little articles, like people on social media, you're like, oh my God, this person said this about me, and this person, and you just rehearse it over again. And so you have to just say, like, you have to block that out and just focus on doing the work. And the people who are supportive of you, that's who you work with.
Yeah, give it up, Richard Trojanski, a man of the people. Never left his hood, man. Now, when I say hood, Richard, you know, we like to say hood is the suffix of neighborhood.
Yes, no, I mean,
you know
I'm
what
from
I mean?
Maple, so.
Yeah, it don't stop. Richard Trojanski, y'all give it up. Play T, that's me, Hollywood in the Hood. I want to thank you for coming on,
Thank you so much
Richard.
for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate you.
And I want to thank everybody for tuning in around the world, watching this, hearing Richard's story, and how we get out in the hood right here on Superior. Play T, that's me, Hollywood in the Hood. We're going to take some pictures real quick before you get out of here.
I remember not too long ago,
What you got to say? Book Nasty, turn me up though.
I remember not too long ago, I always wanted to be on the Player T show. Here I am, not never before, to tell my story in all its glory on the Player T show.
Hollywood in the hood.
If it ain't ghetto, it ain't nothing. We got a lot to discuss. You have to come and join us.
Hollywood in the hood.
If it ain't ghetto, it ain't nothing.
901 Cartel.
What you got to say? Book Nasty, turn me up though.
I remember not too long ago, I always wanted to be on the Player T show. Here I am, not never before, to tell my story in all its glory on the Player T show.
Hollywood in the hood.
If it ain't ghetto, it ain't nuts. We got a lot to discuss. You have to come and join us.
Hollywood in the hood.
If it ain't ghetto,